In my work as a life coach, one of the biggest challenge I have noticed people experience is not knowing who to trust. Coach, I have trust issues is how they say it. Most times people say this when they have been betrayed or they have experienced someone else go through the pain of betrayal. Trust is a big part of how we connect with others. It is what holds our relationships together, but trust is also very fragile. Finding the right balance between trusting others and protecting yourself from getting hurt is something many of us try to figure out. It is like walking a tightrope. Too much trust and you might get hurt. Too little trust and you might miss out on deep connections. I've been there. Yeah, I have. I've learned a big lesson, but it did not put me in a place where I worry whether to trust or not to trust, to who to trust, how to trust, and things like that. No, I have a few principles that I use in guiding myself. I've utilized it, it has worked, and I'll be sharing with you in this episode. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Enahoro Okhae, your emotional intelligence application coach and performance management expert. Throughout life, we meet all sorts of people, each with their own mix of intentions, strengths, and weaknesses. The trick is figuring out who to trust and how much trust to place on them. And this is where emotional intelligence comes in. It's not about shutting everyone out of your life. You might be losing on big opportunities, but knowing how to let people in wisely. Now, I want you to imagine trust as a bridge. Yeah, as a bridge. When you meet someone new, or when you have to start working with someone you have only known from afar, it means you're about to start building a bridge that will help you close the gap between you and that person. Now, in building a bridge, you start with the blueprint of what you want to build. The same way, in managing a new relationship, you need a blueprint. And in this case, it means defining what a trustworthy relationship means to you. Now, you identify your own fears and reasons you have trust issues. If it is applicable, clarify your intentions with the person and let them know what you seek in a trusted relationship, whether personal or official. I want you to reflect on your past experiences and identify patterns in your trust issues. In emotional intelligence, we call this self-awareness, understanding your strength and your weaknesses and understanding yourself generally. And that is the first step. So before you enter into that trust requiring relationship, create a blueprint. Now, the second step in building a bridge will be to lay the foundation. I'm not a civil engineer, but it is logical, isn't it? The foundation has to be solid enough to carry the bridge. In trust building, the foundation is those little interactions, actions, the little information and boundaries that you set respectfully. So here you begin to observe how the other person respects or violates your boundaries. The challenge people have here is that rather than observe in silos, they observe in one area and then accept the person generally. No, that's not how it works. There should be a foundation for different areas of your life. To trust means to rely on, but to rely on does not mean you should rely on people generally. You can rely on people's ability to get tasks done, but you might not be able to rely on them for promptness. And that's the foundation building. You can rely on someone's ability to refund money they lend from you, but that doesn't mean you should rely on them in managing an intimate relationship. In setting foundation, which means the actions, the information, the boundaries that you begin to deploy with that person, do not make the mistake of generalizing it. Setting foundation for tasks should be different from setting foundation for money, finances. It should be different for setting foundation for personal stories. Only build on the foundation you have set, meaning only place reliance on the areas you have tested. Do not mistake one foundation for another. As you lay the foundation, you begin to get into step 3, which is where you begin to erect the pillars of the bridge. And in the case of a trustworthy relationship, the pillars represent consistency and reliability. Spend a considerable amount of time observing the person's behavior in different situations. Pay attention to how they act under pressure, during conflicts, and in everyday interactions. Just as the pillar of the bridge need to be tested for stability, consistently observe how the person handles various circumstances to ensure they are stable and reliable. Take note of their promises and commitments. Are they making realistic promises? Do they keep to their words? Just like reliable pillars are essential for a stable bridge, similarly, reliable follow-through on commitments is essential for building trust. Is there alignment between what they say and what they do? Are they consistent with their words and action? Listen, no one is perfect, so we're not expecting perfection. However, notice how they handle their mistakes and how they are accountable to you. Do they apologize and make amends? Trust is built in little everyday interactions and actions. Notice if they are dependable in minor tasks and interactions, like meeting time and promising to send a message. And if they don't, do they acknowledge and apologize for it? Each small pillar adds to the overall strength of the bridge. Dependability in small matters contributes significantly to overall trust. Now, what will you do where there is no consistency? The first thing not to do is to be under the pressure of building your bridge. Meaning, don't be under pressure to trust wholly. Make do with the little that you are sure about that is safe. Why are you in a rush to tell your stories? Why are you in a rush to leave all the task for that person because it is their job description? Don't forget that their failure might affect your own result. If it's an intimate relationship, why are you in a rush to let go of your guard? Why are you in a rush? Make do with the little that is safe for you. You are building. It's a building. Now, where there is no consistency and reliability, if it matters to you, then you have to respectfully address it. If it doesn't matter to you and you realize it doesn't need addressing, then you can make that resolve about who they are and use that as awareness for you to relate with the person and stay safe. For example, if the person has lack of financial integrity, you might conclude not to address it and never to have any financial dealings with that person, ensuring that everything you do with that person has no need for you to rely on them in financial matters, and that keeps you safe. If it requires addressing, have an open and honest conversation about their inconsistency that you have observed. Use specific examples to illustrate your concerns, just as you would inspect and address the cracks in the pillar of a bridge. Addressing inconsistencies directly help identify whether they can be repaired or if they are signal of deeper issues. Clearly communicate your expectations and see if the other person is willing and able to meet them. Then allow time for the person to show improvements. Be patient. We are humans. This trust is about building something, so mistakes are allowed, but be vigilant. Trust takes time to build and rebuild, just as repairs and reinforcement in building a bridge takes time. Rebuilding trust requires patience. Monitor their efforts and progress, then assess their commitment over time. Determine if the person is genuinely committed to building a trustworthy relationship. Are they making efforts to change and improve? If inconsistency persists and efforts to address them fail, consider how best you want to continue that relationship, whether at arm's length or to totally discontinue the relationship. It depends on the type of relationship it is. In all you do, prioritize your well-being. Set and maintain boundaries to protect yourself from repeated disappointments.